right, we're here with Mr. Al Robbins. How are you doing today?
Good, how are you?
I'm great. So tell me about your experience here at the film festival. What you got going on, what you got coming up. Let me know everything.
It's been incredible, as you can see from the grin on my face. This has been a great experience. We had a screening yesterday, my film, All That Matters, screened here, and the feedback was outstanding. I couldn't have asked for anything more. As a filmmaker, sometimes you create a project and you get it out there and you're always anticipating what the feedback will be and you're hoping it'll be good. And yesterday was one of those great days because not only was the feedback positive, not only did people ask the right questions afterwards, I also got a distribution deal out of it, which is, it doesn't happen often. So we got a distribution deal for the digital rights to the film and the retail rights. And I can only thank the Peachtree Village Film Festival because we're not for the fact that we had this platform to, put our film out there, wouldn't have happened. So I'm really appreciative of that. And I'm also appreciative of the fact that today, just a few minutes ago, I had the opportunity to pitch my next project to a group here that Peachtree Village International Film Festival put together. I think there were 4 or 5 people in there. They have a fund to fund post-production and production of projects, and I had an opportunity to pitch that. So again, big thank you to the Peachtree Village International Film Festival for creating opportunities for filmmakers. There are not a lot of opportunities out there, particularly for filmmakers of color. So again, I cannot say it enough. Peachtree Village Film Festival, JB, Glenn Gibson, everybody else involved, DCR, thank you so much for the opportunity.
Definitely. So how long have you been in the industry?
I've been in the industry approximately 20 years. I started out, initially I was, as I mentioned to you earlier, I'm originally from New York, and I started out wanting to be an actor, but I realized that sometimes thinking is the death of an actor. I was always told, get out of your head, get out of your head.
Right.
I said, well, maybe I need to stay in my head and just put what's in my head, let it filter down through my hand and write. So that's what I started doing. I started writing and directing, and I did my first feature in 2008, and I was fortunate enough and blessed enough to be able to do 3 since then. I've gotten distribution for all my projects, and it's a struggle because many of the projects I had to fund myself. I had the good fortune of shooting writing and directing a film for hire in Morocco. The project was called Mistaken. So that was my first for hire project. So that was a great experience, getting to travel to Morocco and shoot there.
Definitely.
But it's always an uphill battle as an independent filmmaker, but I'd have no other way because you kind of get to tell your story the way that you'd like to. So it's been great.
That's kind of like the best thing about being an entrepreneur. Like, you can make your own schedule, come to work when you feel like it, but there's still that problem that you still have to do all the work.
Exactly. It's funny. Someone asked me after the screening yesterday about that kind of thing, and I said, it's more rewarding, but it's a lot more work, and very often you're almost never off. Like, right. I always say, if your eyes are open, you're working.
Exactly.
And it's tough to balance because I have a family. I'm married, and going downstairs to get on a computer at 10:30 at night, sometimes, my wife is not like real happy about that.
I'm sure she wouldn't be.
Because you have to, you just have to create some kind of balance. But the good thing is it forces you to focus, and the hours you do have to devote to work makes you focus more. Because you don't have, even though it's your time, you don't have time to, to just say, well, I'll do this later. No, there is no later. Because later it's family time. I have to do this now. So yeah, I'm fortunate to have a support system in place that allows me to do that, because my wife is great, my kids are great, and they understand this is a crazy ride, but I think it's enabled us to have a lifestyle that, and I don't mean monetarily necessarily, but we've been able to have a lifestyle that normally, if I had remained in corporate America, a lifestyle that we wouldn't have been able to have. So I'm just grateful for everything that's happened to me this morning.
That's great. Okay, so as an independent filmmaker, I understand that you have to wear a lot of hats.
Yes.
So tell me about everything that you have to do behind the scenes, as well as possibly in front of the camera as well.
Well, the good news is that because I do have some experience acting, and I did get some training. One of the things I realized early on is that obviously I wasn't in college. I was not a fine arts major, so I don't have this base of knowledge about the process. So I always knew that as I got to a point in my career where I was working with more serious, more trained actors, experienced actors, there's a certain way that you need to speak to them. So in order to foster that ability, what I did was I trained as an actor. I went to the company acting studio here in Atlanta for 7 years.
Okay.
And not necessarily to learn how to be a better actor, but to understand the process of the journey of an actor, to be able to speak their language. So in so doing, I learned maybe a little bit about acting.
Okay.
So there were a couple of opportunities I had in my own projects where I was able to cast myself.
Okay.
But I tried to make sure that the characters that I played were characters that didn't necessarily have to go on the journey that the protagonist does, because the protagonist in many stories is going to go on a journey, emotions up and down.
Right.
I said, for better or for worse, I'm going to give myself a little part where I can kind of be the same guy in the beginning that I am at the end, because being a writer and being a director, you don't often have the time to devote to the to all that's required for the character to really come to life. But one thing I will say about doing everything yourself, one thing I've learned, well, two things. One is that money shouldn't always be an obstacle, because I've worked with some of the best post-production people on this project here in Atlanta, and it wasn't because I had the money. They saw the passion. We were able to work something out. So sometimes don't limit yourself by saying you don't have any money, because if you are truly passionate about what you're doing, you've done something that's of quality, people will work with you. And the other thing is that when you're working with other creative people, because post-production is creative also, that they will actually bring ideas to your project that will make them better. And I think on the larger projects, studio projects, TV projects, it's not just the writer-director that decides everything. You've got the set design people, you've got there's everybody involved has something to offer, because these are highly skilled people, and a lot of those things make their way on the screen, so to speak, and make the project better. So one thing I would say is that yes, you have to wear a lot of hats. Don't limit yourself. Try and expand your circle and be around as many truly creative people as you are, because one of your skills as a filmmaker needs to be is recognizing talent, recognizing somebody has a good idea, something that can enhance what you're doing. So rather than thinking everything has to come to you, from you, I'm thinking the opposite way. I want good people around me so I can use their ideas. I don't have all the answers.
Right.
Nobody has. Steven Spielberg, Spike Lee, nobody has all the answers. Everybody, if you look at the people they work with, they have good people around them. That's so important. And having good people around does not always mean money. Much of it is the nature of your project, who you are, how you present yourself, and respect that you have for others and the way you treat them. Because people are watching the way you treat people. Even just because you can't pay somebody a lot of money doesn't mean that you have to treat them less than. I try to treat the people we work with as though, I'm directing a studio project. I like to give them that level of respect to the extent that I can. So, a good transfer is, if you don't, treating people well is currency.
Right.
So that's what I would have to say about that.
Right. I've been on a couple sets myself where you see like the director, he's very hands-on and very in touch with his crew. And then I've been on other sets where it's just like the production crew doesn't exist. Like they don't get any respect. Oh, well, I just need you to go over there and do that. And they talk to them any type of way. So I definitely respect that you are a very like heartfelt person, actually care about your team that you work with. Like that's very respectful.
Right. Because the other thing is, and I know as I get older, sometimes if you speak to people in a certain way, sometimes what you get back might not really be what you want.
Right.
So
right.
And I am very respectful of people when I do that, because I realize, look, regardless of what position you come onto the film as, you're probably somebody's spouse, you're somebody's father. So how am I going to really speak disrespectful to you, and your son or your spouse might be standing right there? I mean, I'm putting you in a position where you have to make a decision. Do I stand up for myself, or do I just accept this because I have this position? And I don't think that's not the kind of man, that's not the kind of person I want to be. So I try to treat everybody with the utmost respect, and if they prove that they're not worthy of that respect, I just get rid of them. I just fire them. They just won't work with me. It doesn't have to be any big deal. You're going home.
Yeah.
And, maybe another time. But because generally, one person, one bad apple it can infiltrate the set and kind of ruin things. So you try and weed those people out. But I've been, blessed, thank God, for the fact that I've worked with people on every project. I've never had major issues. I've always had good people to work with, like Chris Daniels, the guy that shot All That Matters. He shot the film Mistaken that we shot in Morocco. I've known Chris for 30 years. I met him on a project when I was an actor. He was the director of photography, and we maintained that relationship. And I think maintaining relationships in this business is so important, because many actors, many directors and producers, if you really look at their IMDb or the rest, they're working with the same people. Right. And the reason is because those people have proven themselves, proven to be good collaborators. So I think that's important.
Okay, so if people want to get in touch with you, if they want to follow you, how do they do so?
Sure. Well, first of all, the name of the company is bottom of the Net Filmworks. The website is botnfilms.com. Very simple. If you want to follow the project, All That Matters, it's for Twitter and Instagram, it's at ATM Picture, and for Facebook, it's All That Matters the Movie, and my personal Instagram is Al Robbins 8.
Well, thank you so much for taking time to interview with me today.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you so much.
I hope that you enjoy the rest of your weekend here at the film festival.
I will.
And congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
All right.